Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Literally What. I am your host, Taylor. If this is your first time tuning in, I am so excited you are here. Hopefully, I don't blow it. We'll see how it goes. And if this is your 10th, 15th, 20th, 22nd, I think we're on episode 25, which is crazy to think about. Thank you so much, even if you're just a silent listener. All of your guys' support means so much. A little housekeeping. We are almost at 500 followers on the Instagram account. So if you are not already following, please make sure to go give that a follow. It is literally with 2 Y's, what with 3 T's. I post some funny clips on there. Sometimes I'll post memes that are kind of relatable to at least me. And I post when the next episodes are coming out. It's a lot of fun, so make sure you go give that a follow. And also, I do post my podcast episodes on YouTube every single week. You can see my cute little pink background. So make sure you go subscribe to the YouTube channel, give it a thumbs up. And if you just listen on Spotify or Apple, a 5-star review would be amazing. And if you don't want to give it a 5-star review, you can just walk away and not even give it a star. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want the low ratings, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I hope everyone had an amazing week. I totally forgot that we totally approached graduation season. A lot of my friends are younger than me, which maybe that just says I'm really immature. I'm just kidding. But a lot of them graduated and I was like, oh my gosh, I remember, way back in the day. I mean, it wasn't. I graduated college, I think 2 years ago, yesterday to the day. And it feels like I graduated yesterday. It also feels like I graduated 10 years ago. So the real world, if you just graduated and are listening to this, it's scary in a different way because it's like you have so much freedom. The world is literally your oyster. You can basically do like whatever the hell you want, which is exciting. But it's also, if you're a person like me who likes structure, it's kind of like can be overwhelming, but I honestly love it so much more. And it made me think back to when I was in school and the teachers are saying like, you're going to be using this in your future. And, when you're solving X, Y, and Z, and when you're doing this science project. And I'm looking back and it's like, they should teach such different classes in school because I can tell you, like, I've never used anything I learned in middle and high school. And I'm not talking about like reading comprehension and like writing and like stuff like that. Obviously we need that to be normal functioning human beings and the social aspect of going to school, but like teaching about taxes, teaching about dealing with your car, teaching about budgeting, teaching about like health. I don't know, I feel like there's just so many people who you are thrown into that college and adult life and you kind of only learned about, I remember like one of my classes, I think we just dissected a poem for a month and it's like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't know. And it makes me mad because it's like I feel like you waste so much time. And this is sounding like I'm anti-school. I'm not. Like, I love school. I'm saying everyone has to go to school. And why are we not putting classes that will help people in the future? And obviously when I got to college, it was like a million times better because I was actually doing things that were related to what I wanted to do when I graduated and got in the real world. And you learn a lot of social skills. You learn a lot about being on your own. And it's like, why can't we put some of that into, other schooling? Maybe everyone disagrees with me. I don't know. I just feel like you waste a lot of time learning things that you won't use. I've never used X, Y equals what? I've never dissected a pig. and maybe it's just part of the growing up and taking those classes. But I can tell you I've never done a hint of math since 2018, 2019. And, obviously people who go off and do careers that do entail that, good for you guys. I'm just not meant for that life. But who knows? Maybe in a few years they'll add some classes in about some helpful things for us because half the time I'm oblivious to what's going on and things that you have to do when you graduate. And I'm like call my husband, what am I supposed to do here? Because no one taught me any of this. And that's my rant, and that we will be done. But yeah, I hope all you guys who graduated are so excited. It's going to be an amazing next chapter of your life. This is probably the best chapter I've had so far. It's so much fun just kind of like being on your own and the world is your oyster. It really is. I hate that saying, but it's so true. You can literally do whatever you want. And if you have a dream, go for that dream. I'm literally sitting here in my house recording a podcast because I just woke up one day and wanted to. And yeah, that's your motivational speech for me today. But I will cut all the crap and sappiness, and let's get into some hot gossip, hot takes, stories, and advice that will have you saying literally what? Okay, yes, I am posting this on a Tuesday. I know last week I said I was going to go ahead and post before the Met Gala, but I realized I wanted to talk about the Met Gala right after it happened because let's be real, I love all things pop culture. You guys, I'm sure if you're listening, love pop culture and things that are happening in today's world, and I knew that if I waited a whole week, you know, at some point it kind of is like we forget about it. And so, yeah, happened last night. I will be recapping the Met Gala. And honestly, I will say of all the episodes I've done, these stories are my favorite I have ever done. I think they are so full of like drama and craziness. There's just a lot that's been going on, and none of them are really sad, which I always love. I hate having to talk about sad stories. But sometimes, you know, you just have to. But yeah, I'm excited. And I'm also in an amazing mood today because I wear contacts. I am as blind as a bat. And I totally forgot that I was running out of my contacts. I wear the daily ones, so I can't like wear them for a month straight. And I get them shipped to my door because honestly, anything that's convenient, I will be taking full advantage of. And I was wearing my glasses for a full week, honestly. I was dying. I was miserable, and my husband wears glasses every single day, and he just didn't understand. He was like trying to understand why I was being so dramatic about it, but I was like, no, like this is awful, because if I'm showering, if I was trying to put on my makeup or do my skincare, I couldn't have my glasses on, obviously, and I could not see. And I'm like, I don't know how people do this. So I like wasn't wearing makeup. I wasn't just like seeing the frames around my eyes 24/7 made me like dizzy and nauseous. And I was just like, I'm so excited to have my contacts back. And also like, it's so hot in Florida right now. We're in like the mid 90s this week. And so the glasses, I would get like sweat like by my nose. And like to all you who wear glasses every day, props to you. Maybe I just am not doing it right. But yeah, I was struggling. I was struggling there for a while, but we're all good now. Contacts are in. I was scared they weren't going to get here and I was going to have to podcast with them on. Not that it would be a bad thing because I wear glasses like in the mornings and at night. But like when I have to look at different things and like I see the frames and it just, I don't know. It is past, you know, first world problems, but the contacts are back in. Maybe I'll wear my glasses for an episode so you can kind of see, you know, what I look like with glasses on. But yeah, that was amazing getting the contacts at my door. I like ran out and wanted to like hug the FedEx guy. I was like, thank you so much. But yeah, let's get into some of these stories. The first one, we're hitting it hard with the Met Gala because it happened obviously last night. Here's what I love about the Met Gala. I feel like the Met Gala, and especially this year, is really about the A-list celebrities and just really... Is private the right word? Like it's very, I don't know the word I'm looking for. You're probably shouting at your screen, but tickets this year were $75,000 to even go to the Met Gala. And besides Emma Chamberlain, who was doing some interviews for Vogue, there were no influencers that I really saw. I think Hailey whatever was there, but for the most part, it was, from what I saw, just those A-list celebrities. Not that I'm saying influencers shouldn't be at these events, but I think it's cool that they are keeping it, you know, with the A-listers, the ones that we know and that have been going for years and years and years. But the theme, so there were two different themes, I guess you could say. The dress code for what people were supposed to dress up as was called the Garden of Time, and that was from some short story that this guy wrote, and that's where they got the theme from. So, you know, you're thinking like floral, garden, fairy tale. And then for those who don't know, the Met Gala is basically a fundraiser, and they raise money for this is it an exhibition? I don't really know, but the theme for that was basically called The Sleeping Beauties Reawakening Fashion, and that was basically just about the idea of pieces that are really old and that are kind of too fragile to be worn, and they were preserving them. And so those are kind of the themes going in. So you're getting a lot of fairy tale vibes, you're getting a lot of princess garden vibes, and so I was personally really, really excited for this theme. And there were some people who hit the mark. There were some people who missed the mark, and we will be getting into that. Let me preface before I go into this by saying I am highly, highly aware these are very rich people who are wearing insanely expensive outfits, and I was in my pajamas judging them last night. Like, I'm not all high and mighty. I know what I was doing, and I am not an AL celebrity going to this Met Gala, but I still judge them, okay? Moving on. I will say, though, my favorite probably moment from any Met Gala was that video of Katy Perry in the bathroom with JLo putting on her hamburger costume. Oh my gosh, that was like, there's some iconic moments for the Met Gala, but I think the Met Gala, for me, I also love it because it's not a 3-hour event like some award shows where I have to watch everything. It's just more, here they are, here's what they're wearing, they go in. We obviously are not shown, which we were shown, though, part of Ariana Grande performing. In past years, you really don't see inside the Met Gala. And the editor-in-chief of Vogue, she did an interview and was talking about different rules, and I don't think you're allowed to take selfies in there. They don't allow garlic, onion, and I want to say like cilantro or something like that on the menu when they're serving food in there. And there was some other rules, but you're not really allowed in the room. It's just all the celebrities. And there's like conspiracies of, oh, stuff must be going on in there that they don't want people to see. And it's like, all right, no, I think it's just a fundraiser. But this year we did see in, and Ariana Grande performed a few songs, and it looked gorgeous in there. It looked very fairy tale garden-like, and the tables and just all the arrangements on the tables, there were like florals and greenery and the like light candle whatever, and it looked gorgeous. But it was really cool that we got to see a little sneak peek inside there. But yeah, it looked really, really cool. And I guess we'll get into a few looks last night, because here's what I'm going to say. If you do not follow the theme of the Met Gala, why are you going? I think that you should be X'd off the list if you show up and just don't. Like Blake Lively, for example, she didn't go this year, and I was honestly like really sad because she's like my favorite person to see. She normally matches her big outfit gown to the color of the staircase, and she wasn't there. But I just don't get how you can be invited to the Met Gala and not go all out, and how some people just show up in like a boring dress. Like, if you're not going to go on theme, get out of there, take their ticket away and give it to someone else. Because if I ever did in a whole other entire universe, I would be wearing the craziest on theme outfit and just try to outdo every single person, because why wouldn't you want to? That's what makes the Met Gala fun, is the outfits. But let's look at some of these outfits of the night. Zendaya, she had 2 different outfits. Her first outfit, stunning, so on theme. She was one of the co-chairs for the event, along with Jennifer Lopez, Bad Bunny, and was it Bad Bunny? And someone else. But she killed it. She had like a little bird on her neck. Her makeup, I didn't love, but it was on theme with the dress, and it just was absolutely stunning. She was one of my favorite looks ever. And then Kim Kardashian, everyone was talking about, because she had this really pretty dress on, but then had this ugly cardigan that she was like holding around herself the whole time. In an interview, she said that the vision was like she was in this dress, but then she was like leaving the garden that she was at with her boyfriend and took his sweater and put it on over her, and her hair was a mess. I 1,000% think it was some wardrobe malfunction or something, because there were some pictures of her leaving the car when she didn't have the cardigan on, and they were hiding her behind this like big bed sheet. So I think that it was hiding something that the sweater ended up covering when she went on the red carpet. But it was definitely a wardrobe malfunction. Something was going on, but she said it was, you know, part of the costume. Taylor Russell, she had on this top that like looked wooden. I loved it. I thought it looked really, really cool. Whenever I see an outfit that just looks different, like you can't, some of these outfits they were wearing, you're not going to wear them every time. And that's why I love the Met Gala, because people are going to wear things that you don't normally wear. But she looked really, really cool. Sydney Sweeney, I loved her outfit. I was obsessed. Big blue ball gown. She had the black gloves. She had like the floral pattern on top of it. And I thought it looked really, really cool. I will say I didn't love the dark wig on her. It didn't look awful, but, you know, I just like her blonde better with her long hair. Nicki Minaj, I will say, I love it. I did. She, as people say, understood the assignment. It looked really, really pretty. I loved the color on her. I loved all the flowers. I loved the shoes. I loved the handbag. Loved the hair. Loved it, loved it, loved it. I think she killed that look. Lana Del Rey, probably, I want to say number one. I don't know. It's hard because there were so many that were really on theme, but she was definitely on theme. She looked so good. A lot of twigs going on. Almost like a cobweb situation. I was obsessed with it. And I thought she looked amazing, amazing, amazing. Doja Cat, I'm over her because she first off leaves the hotel in her first outfit. She has like a towel on her head and then like wrapped around her posing, and I'm like, are you serious? And then she shows up in this just like white see-through, she's drenched in like water, and then she has like her mascara running down her face, and I just hated every second of it. And I also hated Kylie's outfit. Boring. What are you doing? Boring. Demi Lovato showed up. This is her first time showing up to a Met Gala since 2016 because apparently something happened with the celebrity and she never went back. It was speculated that it was Nicki Minaj who like said some stuff to her. We don't know. I thought she looked really pretty. It was weird seeing her there because I feel like I haven't seen much of her in a while. But she showed up. Who else? Oh, JLo looked gorgeous. Gorgeous. I will say it's not a super on theme dress, but it was just so pretty that I can't not love it. There was one girl, I forget her name, but she basically was wearing like real sand as like her dress, and like she couldn't really walk, so people were like lifting her up, and then she was holding like a sand like timer clock thing, and looked really, really cool. That was another really cool look. I'm trying to think who else. Oh, Cardi B showed up in like the huge black gown that went everywhere. It was kind of boring to me. I don't know. It didn't match the theme. And again, I'm sure some people had an idea in their head, and obviously the dresses they're wearing are probably super expensive, but I just didn't love it for the theme. Oh, Elle Fanning. One of my favorites. Stunning. It was like a sheer iridescent gown, and it had the 3D molded flowers on her shoulders, and she looked amazing. I was obsessed with that look. Kendall Jenner, I kind of liked it. It wasn't like, it didn't blow me away. But it was kind of cool. It was giving almost like Maleficent vibes. I don't know if that's what she was going for, but it looked really pretty. Sarah Jessica Parker, obsessed. It was like a bird cage vibe. I loved it. Who else? A lot of the ones that I hated, it was just like because they were boring. Like Kaya Gerber, I was like, that's boring. Who else? Oh, Sabrina Carpenter, I loved the dress. Like the dress, she looked stunning. But to me, I feel like she could have gone so garden fairy tale, like birds, and I don't know. I just think she could have done a lot more. Oh, Gigi Hadid. Stunning. One of my tops as well. Just absolutely gorgeous. That might be like my favorite look. It was so pretty on her. But also Lana Del Rey's was so good too, and like very, very on theme and just so different. But the people who came out, they did amazing. And then the people who didn't, why are you there if you're not going to be on theme? Hello? Oh, Barry from Saltburn. He's probably from other things, but I liked his outfit. I know he was getting a little bit of hate because he looked like someone from like, I don't really remember, but I think he looked really good. And he was with Sabrina Carpenter. They got pictures together, so they are definitely official, I believe. Ariana Grande, I think, looked really pretty. She had the dress that she wore when she was performing inside the Met Gala. Stunning, stunning, stunning. Okay, our next story is some very interesting news, and that is Vanderpump Rules is pausing production, and they are not filming over the summer, and they are saying it's an attempt to give cast members a break. Obviously, Vanderpump Rules the past however many years has always filmed in the summer. It's been a summer show, and they're not doing it this year. The reunion for this season is next week, and I personally think it's going to be kind of boring. And I do have some speculation as to why they're pausing filming and production. The first thing is last season, the whole Scandal. It was like probably the number one top rated show in reality TV and on Bravo. Everyone was watching it. Even people who didn't watch it, that's literally the whole Sandoval thing is the reason I started watching Vanderpump Rules and totally got into the whole Bravo world. And so for them to be on that big of a high to end the season, the reunion was crazy, Ariana's reunion dress, and it's like everyone was watching. And now we get into season 11 and everyone tuned into the first episode, and you know, the episodes kept coming out and viewership definitely dropped. And I think it's just like, it's so boring compared to last season, and the storylines aren't really amazing. The only storylines are really just like Lala is getting pregnant as a single woman, and then Sheena and Brock, like whatever's wrong with their relationship, just fighting, and you know, Sheena dealing with postpartum anxiety and all of that. So I think that the numbers dropped and they're kind of like figuring out what they need to do. I will say, I think that with the new show, The Valley, which this ties into the Valley recap, I think they're going to try to see if they can bring anyone from Vanderpump on to The Valley. Because again, The Valley's more, you know, the coupled people who are just kind of like not in the West Hollywood vibe anymore. And I think they're going to try to bring maybe Sheena and Brock there, maybe Lala. Who knows what's going to happen. And also, Ariana, she is killing it in the real world. She's going back on Broadway to play Roxy in Chicago for a second time. She's the new host of Love Island. I think there's been a little bit of rumor that she might not be back next season. And again, like, the whole Sandoval, whatever thing happened. And you would think that this season it was going to really be about the girls just like really bonding and really just being that strong. And they call themselves the Spice Girls. Like, and it hasn't been that. It's almost like they're trying to play this Tom Sandoval, what's the word? The whole like redemption arc of him like trying to become a better person. And like Lisa Vanderpump's on that whole arc of like trying to make sure that everyone's being nice to him. And I think that that's part of the reason why people aren't really watching anymore, because it's like you saw what happened with Ariana and the fact that I don't think it's playing out how people thought it would be. I think that's also just like turning a lot of people off on the show. And I think that the ratings would have been a lot better if it wasn't going how it was going. And they're really pushing the whole Tom becoming a better person. And also like they saw the girls fighting with like Ariana and then the other girls trying to be friends with Tom again. And it's like, I think that's also a big reason why not a lot of people are watching. But I think that The Valley is going to take off and VPR might be done. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I will say that like James and Lala, I'm obsessed with them. And I feel like they wouldn't really go on The Valley because they're still really young. So we'll see what happens. But I thought this was insanely interesting. And we'll see what happens at the reunion. I think it's going to be pretty boring because, again, there's not that many great storylines. Who knows? Who knows what'll happen? Our next story is really, really exciting. So Rebel Wilson offered exciting updates on Pitch Perfect 4. And if you guys don't know, Pitch Perfect is my all-time favorite movie. The past like years, the Bard and Bellas, who is the like a cappella group in the movie, have been like one of my top listened to artists on Spotify. When I get like Spotify Wrapped, it's really embarrassing, but I love these movies. And so basically she went on an interview and she offered some insight about the future of Pitch Perfect. And she said, hopefully there's a fourth one in the works. There is one being developed. I mean, I know we're older now, so I don't know exactly what the storyline is going to be. I guess they've got to get the script right first, which is the age-old dilemma. So it looks like it's in the works, and, you know, who knows if it'll ever happen. I feel like a lot of times movies are in the works and then we don't really hear about them again, but I totally think that this would be a really great movie. Pitch Perfect is one of the best movies, and if you don't like Pitch Perfect, what are you doing? My husband and I, we fell asleep to Pitch Perfect a couple nights ago, and it's just like, it's so good. Like, it's one of the best ever. So anyway, I'm excited for this, and yeah, I think it'll be exciting if this happens. And clearly, I mean, Rebel Wilson's, I don't think she would say something like that if she didn't hear, you know, little whispers of a Pitch Perfect 4. So, and I'm sure they would definitely want her to make sure that she's on, and we'll see what happens with that. So very exciting. Our next story, Maria from The Bachelor went on Call Her Daddy. When I saw this, I was so excited. It's very interesting that she went on Call Her Daddy because we knew that Daisy went on the Nick, the Vile Files. She didn't go on Call Her Daddy, but it's just interesting to see where different people go to, like, what podcast they'll share, like, their side of things. So she went on, she spilled a lot of tea, not just about her life, but about The Bachelor in general. And I do recommend, if you watch this past season of The Bachelor, to listen to the episode because it's crazy. And she is crazy too, but it also made me love her so much more. A few things did stick out. The first is that she knew Nick Viall. She was friends with Nick Viall. And there's a lot of drama going into that. And definitely listen to the episode and to hear a lot about what happened with that. But my biggest takeaway was when they were in Jasper and that whole thing went down with Maria going up to Joey and basically saying, like, I can't do this, like, I'm too jealous, like, I want to leave. And then we kind of, or at least I speculated, like, oh, this is just, you know, for the plot, and, like, she wasn't really going to leave. But she basically said that she was planning an exit strategy, and when they were on the group date and Jen ended up kissing Joey, she was like, okay, I'm going to use this to leave the show. And she was ready to leave the show. And so she was like, I'm going to go to Joey. I'm going to say, you know, seeing you kiss Jen, you know, I'm just too jealous for this. And said that she was literally leaving. Like, she knew she was going to leave. She was planning this as her exit. And she said that we didn't see a lot of what happened after because she said that Joey really, really made it seem like he wanted her to stay. She was basically hinting that, like, she stayed because of how much he said that he wanted her to stay, kind of thing. So it makes me feel better that she did get sent home when she did, because I don't think she was going to end up being the one for him, especially after hearing this. And she said that, you know, they were greatest friends, and it was crazy to see that she was literally going to leave in Jasper, and hinted that, like, you know, a lot happened that he said that you didn't see, and I stayed. So that was crazy to hear. And then we knew that she was asked to be the Bachelorette, but what we didn't know, and what I didn't know, is it was, like, set in stone. She said that she was the Bachelorette. She was getting her fittings done. Like, it was set in stone. She was going to go on Call Her Daddy originally to announce her as being the Bachelorette, but then she said basically, like, she wasn't happy, or as happy as she thought she would be while preparing for it. And then she basically kind of called Jen out, honestly, and was like, you know, I was friends with Jen in that Bachelor house, and she was always kind of vocalizing how much she wanted to be the Bachelorette, which is kind of crazy because we all know that people go on the show to be on the show and kind of become a little bit famous, but for her to basically be like, yeah, Jen was literally in the house saying she wanted to be the Bachelorette is kind of like, okay. But she was just like, you know, it wasn't my time, and the processes the process is a lot, and she didn't want all the guys to come on and it, you know, waste their time if she wasn't super ready. So she just wasn't ready to jump right back in. And then she said something about Wells, who is obviously the bartender on Bachelor in Paradise and part of Bachelor Nation, went on some podcast saying how the reason that she didn't fall through was because she wanted to have her phone and she wanted this and that. And she's like, that never happened. Like, he's just saying things that aren't true. I know how it works. I know you can't have your phone. Like, that's common sense. And it was just kind of funny that she was throwing shade at a lot of people. But I don't know. I think that we will hopefully see her in another season. But it's interesting that Jen definitely got thrown in there, and she probably was the only one who really wanted it. And I think that based on from what I got from the interview, she told them, let's just use Jen because she told me how much she wanted to do it. And I think that's how it happened, and it's very interesting. So anyway, it was a good podcast episode. I would highly recommend. Some of her stories are crazy. All right, next story is a little SNL news. If you guys don't watch SNL, I know like sometimes people don't watch it because it can get like political, I don't know. I just personally, like, I always forget about it, and then I'll watch an episode and I'm like, they are so funny. The writers, the actors, everyone is so hilarious. But this past episode, they did a karma skit about JoJo Siwa. So basically Chloe Fineman, she did a parody, and it was when they were doing the weekend update, and they were like, here is JoJo Siwa, and they brought her out, and whoever did the hair and makeup outfit, outstanding. It looked just like JoJo, and even like the way she talked, you know, she was doing a little dance, and it was so funny. Definitely go look up a clip of it. And it was really funny. And so everyone was waiting to see if JoJo Siwa would react, because she is notorious for reacting to people making fun of her. I don't know if that's like a coping mechanism. I don't know. But she basically responded and just said, like, I don't even know what to say. Like, this is iconic. This is crazy, blah, blah, blah. And JoJo Siwa, the more I see of her, I really do think that she is going to look back on this and really cringe hard at herself. And I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like SNL is making fun of you. And I don't know if she's doing this to get more publicity. I don't know. Like, it's just so weird to me how she handles certain things and like just laughs at herself. And I'm like, it has to hurt you at some point. And I don't know what goes through her head, but it'll tie into the next story, which was the Dance Moms reunion, obviously. That happened, I think it came out May 1st, I believe, and I did watch it. JoJo was so unbearable to watch. And I know I'm being rude, but it's just how I feel. And like, just watching it, everyone was in their super gorgeous dresses and, you know, just talking through their trauma of Dance Moms. And you have JoJo here being like, well, Abby was always right, and I still talk to Abby, and, you know, just cutting in at random moments and just being like, just not how you should act in a setting like that. But the reunion was really good. It was kind of a little bit boring. I thought a lot more would have been talked about. It was kind of short too. It was like a little over an hour, but it was JoJo and her mom, Kalani and her mom, Paige, Brooke and her mom, and then Chloe, but she didn't come with her mom. And I grew up watching Dance Moms, but I don't really remember a lot of it. I remember like the beginning seasons, and then just kind of stopped watching. But it was funny because Paige and Brooke, you know, when they left at the end of or beginning of season 4, that's when Kalani came in. So they didn't really know each other. And then Paige and Brooke never met JoJo. So it was weird because it was like they were all in this reunion together, but JoJo and then Paige and Brooke didn't know each other. And then they also didn't really know Kalani. And then obviously Maddie and Mackenzie and Nia were not at the reunion. But what you find out is the night before they went to shoot the reunion, Melissa hosted a party at her house for Paige, like a surprise party. And they talked about basically, like the moms were saying, she definitely did this to put a blanket over the fire so that no one would say anything wrong about them. And it was just interesting because there's definitely drama, I think, with, you know, the whole Dance Moms and Melissa and, you know, if you watch Dance Moms, you know, but she did throw a little thing at her house the night before and then didn't invite Kalani, and I believe JoJo wasn't, no, JoJo was there, so I guess Kalani didn't get invited. I don't know the drama behind that, but it was interesting to watch. The first part was basically Brooke, Paige, Kendall, and Kendall was there with her mom too. And Chloe's, like, I guess the OGs, like, went first and just talked about their experience and, you know, basically saying, like, they didn't really talk about a lot of it. And Brooke and Paige, when they left the show, they didn't dance after that. And, you know, it's hard looking back and watching, you know, your mom, like, fighting, because there was a lot of fighting. And it was just interesting to see, you know, what they thought looking back, because they said they don't really talk about it ever. I learned a lot about Kalani because I didn't really watch with her on it, but she was on Abby's dance competition, and that's how Abby found her, and Abby brought her to the show to kind of be Maddie's partner, and that's when Brooke and Paige got kicked off the show, and that kind of changed the trajectory of the show for them. And then JoJo came, and she was only on it for 2 seasons, and even just watching her, you can tell, like, JoJo loves herself. Like, whenever they would play a clip of, like, moments of JoJo on the show, she's like, oh, I watch these, like, all the time, like, I watch this daily. And it's like, okay, all right. And then it ended. There were a lot of sweet moments, there were a lot of sad moments, and, you know, they asked Chloe, you know, do you forgive Abby? And she's like, you know, I'm in the process. It's hard to forgive someone, though, who did terrible things to you. And even, like, I was rewatching some of the beginning episodes of Dance Moms, the girls, like, I can't imagine what they went through, and it was just awful situations that they were put in, and especially Chloe with the whole Chloe Maddie feud. It was interesting just to see them all kind of talk about it, and it was pretty good. I thought it would have a little more, I don't know, it wasn't like as crazy as I thought it would get, but it was still interesting just to see them all together. And of course JoJo was there being JoJo, I don't even know, but whenever she said the comment, like, well, Abby was always right, you could definitely tell they were all kind of looking at each other like, okay. But it was interesting. If you're bored, I guess, watch it. Otherwise, it was honestly, like, not worth your time to watch it. I had to watch it online at the Lifetime app. But, you know, that was that. I think they just built it up a lot more, and it was like, oh, okay, that's fun. Alrighty, our next story. Oh, this one I'm so excited about. Okay, one of my absolute favorite books, even if you don't like Colleen Hoover, which I don't really like her as much anymore. I've moved on to bigger and better books. But Verity, if you have not read that book, you need to read it. Even if you don't read, even if you don't like Colleen Hoover, just read it. It's so freaking good. I always figure out twists and things. You won't with this one. But another Colleen Hoover novel is coming to the big screen. Yeah, they're making Verity into a movie. I'm literally so excited. So her best-selling thriller Verity is currently in development at Amazon. And it was interesting that they put this info out right now because It Ends With Us is coming out in, I think, 3 months, which is starring Blake Lively, which obviously It Ends With Us. I'm looking at the book right now. It's one of her top-selling books, and everyone's read it. And I'm excited for the movie, but I'm also not, because there was so much backlash with, you know, just seeing the outfits that the characters were wearing, and even just Blake Lively, like, she's not that old in the book, so just the whole casting and everything, I don't think it'll be what we imagined it to be. But Verity, I'm very excited for, and I hope that they will take a look at what they did with the It Ends With Us cast and see all the backlash and hopefully change their ways and learn from their mistakes when it comes to Verity and the casting with that. And, you know, it'll be, if they do it right, this will be such a good thriller movie and so amazing. I'm very excited. Okay, our next story I'm also really excited about because my husband is very much into the current rap drama, and I, as his wife and someone who also listens to rap, am now so invested, and I'm going to be breaking down the Kendrick Lamar and Drake drama for you guys. I'm going to do it super quick. I took notes to hopefully have you guys understand. If you literally don't know what's going on, you will know after this segment. So I'm sure you've heard there's like drama between them two. And how did it start? How did it get to where it is now? Why are they releasing so many diss tracks about each other? I am here to explain to you. So basically, Drake and J. Cole were on a song together, and they basically said, like, the three of them were the big three and on the same level, talking about Kendrick Lamar, Drake, and J. Cole. But Kendrick Lamar wasn't on the soundtrack where they were saying that they were the big three. And supposedly he was supposed to be on the song. We don't know. And so Kendrick went on a song with Future and basically said, F the big three, it's just big me, which honestly, good for him. Like, good for you. So that kind of started the whole thing. He didn't like that they were talking about them three on the same level. So then he comes out with the song saying it's just big me. Okay. Then J. Cole dropped a diss track, and it was called 7-Minute Drill about Kendrick Lamar. But then he pretty much deletes it, apologizes, says, like, I'm so sorry, takes it off of all streaming sites. So now J. Cole is totally out of the picture. So he was part of the reason this started, but now he literally has no part in anything anymore. So then Jake dropped 2 diss tracks, basically saying, like, Kendrick's small, and, like, I think the second one was about, oh, you still haven't responded, or put your diss track out, blah, 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 blah. So then Kendrick comes out with a 6-minute diss track called Euphoria. And it's interesting because Drake was an executive producer on the show Euphoria. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I thought that was kind of funny. And basically he was saying, like, don't come at me because I know a lot about you, Drake, that I can come out and say. So, like, don't keep coming at me. And then, you know, I hate the way you talk. I hate the way you walk. I hate the way you dress. Well, you know, typical diss track wording. And so then he comes out with another called the 616, which is basically saying, like, Drake's just, like, an awful person, and he also has, like, a mole in his friend group who's, like, telling things about him, blah, blah, blah. And then Drake comes out with another diss track. This one's called Family Matters. This one comes out 12 hours after the 616 song. Okay, so they're, like, on it. Basically, this is when he accused Kendrick of being a wife beater, which I don't like. Also said that, like, his son isn't his. And then minutes after the Drake one comes out, Kendrick Lamar drops another one. So what? Part of me is like, okay, is this, like, planned? But I don't think it is, because I really think that, like, they hate each other and they just are in the studio, like, just waiting and have all of these written already. I would love to see, like, the behind the scenes of, like, diss track fights, because I don't remember, has this happened before? I don't know, but I'm so invested in this. So anyway, minutes after, Kendrick comes out with one called Meet the Grams. Okay, this one's a little crazy because he starts talking to Drake's son, basically saying, like, I'm so sorry, like, this is your dad, and also saying, like, Drake has a second kid, and that Drake's mansion is under investigation by the FBI, and he's involved in sex trafficking and, like, all this stuff. And then comes out with another. Okay, so not only he comes out with this dissing, like, him being a dad and, like, he has another kid, like, all this stuff, then comes out with another one and is talking a lot about Drake liking younger girls and, like, all of that, which he talked about in previous diss tracks too. Then May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, Drake comes out with Heart Part 6, basically denying everything. And I think he's denying it because the claims that Kendrick made are not good. So that's where we are right now. There has not been another diss track that has come out, I don't believe. Maybe by the time this is uploaded, there will be. But this is honestly crazy. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Personally, I think Kendrick's winning this one. And, you know, he probably was ready to start this because he didn't like the whole big three thing, and he thinks he's the best. And honestly, I've always been a Kendrick Lamar fan. Also, I love Drake songs too, but I gotta be on Kendrick right now. I don't know. It's a lot, but they just got to battle it out, I guess. And hopefully this stops soon, or they're both going to like, someone's going to get canceled, I feel like, or something's going to happen to one of them, but we'll see. Next story, Harry Jowsey. Okay, so Harry Jowsey, if you don't know, he's a reality F-boy TV star, blah, 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 blah. He was on Dancing with the Stars last season. I recapped it. We've talked about him before. And he came out with a new podcast, okay? And if you remember on Dancing with the Stars, he was partnered with a girl named RYLEE. She was 18 years old. He was 26. There was a lot of rumors and speculation that they had a thing going on, and they 1,000%, I don't care what you say, they played into it to get votes. Okay? They did. I personally think that RYLEE definitely had a crush on him. I mean, he's this 26-year-old good-looking guy. They're dancing together and are with each other like hours and hours at a time. And there was, I mean, they had a connection. And even after the show ended, they were together all the time. I think he went and like spent a holiday with her and her family. Like, they were friends. He got her a $10,000 bracelet. Like, they were always together posting each other. And there's no denying that. Okay? There's no denying that. Well, little Mr. Harry, the first episode of his podcast, he teases it and totally uses RYLEE as clickbait. And we don't know what he's going to say. But he comes out with his first episode and totally just, I don't want to say annihilates her, but just totally turns the script and like was a total asshole. Like, it was crazy. So basically he was saying that, you know, there were so many headlines about him and RYLEE, but what people really didn't know is that he had a secret girlfriend, and her name was Jess from, I think it was Love is Blind, another reality TV show. So he went on Dancing with the Stars having a secret girlfriend, and that, you know, he put up boundaries with RYLEE saying, like, you can't fall in love with me because, like, you're only 18, and, you know, she didn't want him, or she didn't want her, he didn't want her to fall in love with him. You know, all this just crazy stuff. And saying that all the fan edits and all the headlines about them being together was the reason that him and Jess broke up, and she wants Jess back and all this crap. Ridiculous stuff, honestly. And called her a cute little blonde girl. Okay, people are running with this. RYLEE's running with it too. She like posted something saying like, I'm just a cute little blonde girl who just bought a house. And like anytime someone comments saying cute little blonde girl, she'll like it. And he just totally took everything that happened with them and totally used her. And you know, she's young, and I can't imagine, like, that I think will definitely, it's not going to destroy her, but that's got to be awful that she went through that and heard him say these things. And apparently they had followed each other. I guess she follows him back again now, but just awful that he did that, honestly. He literally is the worst, and yeah. Crazy. But she's, I mean, she literally bought a house now, so I think she's totally thriving and, you know, doesn't need him. He clearly needs her to get views on his stupid little podcast. My gosh. Anyway, I literally listened to like 5 minutes of his episode and turned it off because I was like, you are ridiculous. But all right, our last story is about the Tom Brady roast. I'm telling you guys, like, this past week, there's just been so much like dissing and roasts and like, I don't know, just like crazy stuff going on. But the Tom Brady roast, let me just say, I love watching roasts. I will never, ever, ever be part of one. Never. I'm way too sensitive. Some of these jokes, like a lot of them were obviously about his ex Giselle, and they were pretty funny, but also like awful. I forget what her name was. Oh, Nikki. Her name was Nikki, I think, Glazier. She killed it. She did so funny. One of her jokes was like, you know, you have 7 rings. Well, now you have 8 because Giselle, you know, gave you her ring back. Kevin Hart did so good as well. Kim Kardashian was there. And Tom Brady made a joke basically saying like, you know, Kim was terrified to be here, not because of the whole roast situation, but because her kids are at home with Kanye. Just like they get crazy. It's so funny to me. But from what I saw a few clips, and, you know, they definitely destroyed Tom Brady, and he definitely looked pretty uncomfortable in a lot of the jokes, especially because a lot of them were about Giselle. But I think before the roast happened, they said that him and Giselle's kids were off limits. So they really took the Giselle notes, you know, and really went at that. And apparently she, is not, I saw a headline like she's unhappy with the jokes, but it's like, it's a roast, okay? Like, you know, I, again, could never ever do it. It's like the Michael Scott episode where they roast him in the office and he's like, no, roast me, and then like ends up crying, and it's like, that would be me. Like, that would just be me. But again, I mean, these comedians get paid tons of money to roast them, so what do you expect? And I think Kevin Hart was like, you know, you invited my ass here, like, I don't know what you expect me to do, because he was like going in on him, and it was funny. But yeah, it was funny to watch. So I think that was on Netflix if you want to watch it. But yeah, those are all the stories. I'm going to quickly do a Valley recap because not a lot happened in this past episode, but I really do think that this is going to be the new IT reality TV show, especially if they're going to be bringing on people from Vanderpump onto the Valley. So we basically open up with the aftermath of the whole, you know, hotel hallway fight with everyone, and it comes out that Michelle had a secret boyfriend for like a year, and Jesse and Michelle were then like, you know, if Kristen ever is anywhere with the group, like, we don't want to be there, so it's either like us or them. I literally hate Jesse and Michelle. It's like, you're all on a cast together, like, what are you talking about? But then it goes to Michelle and Jesse's house the next day, and Jesse's like, you know, this is just bringing us closer together, and Michelle's just sitting there like, yeah, totally. And you can tell like she despises this man, and like obviously now they're, I think, separated or divorced, but she's so over him. And yeah, which honestly, he's like the worst, so whatever. And then they go out to dinner with Nia and Danny, who Nia and Danny are like my favorite ever. They're so cute. They literally like cheers their glasses and like gave each other a little kiss, and they were like, oh yeah, we do this like every time. And then Michelle and Jesse were just looking at each other like, oh, we just like ask each other if we signed like that document or whatever. And it's like, oh, okay, so like you are publicly unhappy and like keep talking about it. But I do feel bad because Nia has been experiencing a lot of postpartum depression, and that's like a big storyline for her. And so she was just talking to Michelle about that, and I can't imagine. Then we go to Jax and Brittany. They have an overnight date because they haven't been as close once they had their baby, and so they went out. And Brittany wants to try for baby number 2 because they did talk about it before, but Jax is like, listen, like, I don't think that's going to solve our marriage problems. I think it's just going to put more strain on us. And like, he's trying to open a bar right now, and he's like, maybe we should just leave it for right now and just kind of focus on like our kid crew right now and like our relationship. And then it ended with like them, you know, in a fight and blah, blah, blah. And I might not like Jax and like his past, but he kind of has a point. And then, of course, Janet and Jason are just Janet and Jason. Janet's definitely going to start more crap because she is such a silent killer. And we talked about this last week. Like, she's definitely starting a lot of drama, but like no one knows. And she's just kind of sitting back. And they went over to Jax and Brittany's house, and she was trying to get out from Jax like, oh, what's the secret about Michelle that Kristen knows? And so she's kind of funny, low-key. Like, she makes for good TV, but we'll see what happens in the future with them. And then, of course, Luke and Kristen still trying to have a baby. Luke is, like, telling Kristen, though, that she needs to kind of, like, not out these secrets and be rude to everyone, and she needs to kind of, like, apologize if they're going to continue on in this path to starting a family. So it was interesting. I still really like the show, and definitely watch it if you haven't yet. But yeah, what a good episode. These stories were just like so good, like really good. And I'm excited. I'm going to push the Literally What segment since we're almost at like, we're pushing an hour, and I don't want you guys to hate me for making it too long. Unless you like it long. That's what she said. But if you like the longer episode, definitely let me know. But yeah, that was a lot of information. We will definitely be keeping an eye out on some of these stories, especially the Kendrick and Drake drama. Yeah, just some good stuff. Good stuff today. Now you can go take all this information and go out to dinner with some friends and be like, hey, did you hear about this, this, this? You're welcome. That's what I'm here for. But again, make sure you're following the Instagram, subscribing to the YouTube, 5-star reviews, liking, sharing, all the fun stuff. It really helps me out, and I hope you guys have an amazing week, have had an amazing start to your week. I will see you next week for some more hot gossip, hot take, stories, and advice that will have you saying literally what? Bye, guys.